On your Sunday, we have plenty to talk about here with your national forecast. Thank you for joining us here on Weather AM. As always, it is a pleasure to have you with us. I'm Victoria Fenn Alvarado, going through your national weather story. We do have a trough and an atmospheric river bringing in some unsettled conditions for portions of the west coast. We're going to talk about how much rain you could potentially see. It's going to be a soggy week ahead. Meanwhile, high pressure dominating Atlantic Canada. As I mentioned, those blue skies, that's probably going to be the scene for your Sunday, even into Monday. We do have some rain on the move. As I mentioned, that atmospheric river in parts of British Columbia, central portions of the province could see upwards of 100 millimeters of rain through your Monday, and your long-range forecast isn't looking any better. Here's the timing on that. Sunday afternoon, rain starts to creep in, and then Monday morning, we get that second round. Northern portions through Terrace, Prince George, that's where you could see upwards of 100 millimeters. Now, the next 5 days is still quite soggy. Even through the lower mainland, we could potentially see 15 millimeters of rain, but really that central portion, that's where it's going to be the most soggy there. Here's a look at your next 7 days in Vancouver. Your temperature is quite seasonal. 19 degrees is seasonal, but we start to get a little bit cooler later on in the week once that rain has passed. Other places in the province, Kelowna, 19 degrees, Campbell River, 14 degrees. And as we head on into the prairies, the unsettled conditions remaining for parts of Alberta, Jasper specifically through that foothills area, some rain, but the other provinces, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, fairly dry for the rest of the week. In fact, still holding on to that heat, 27 degrees on your Wednesday, but the cool down really going to start kicking in later on next weekend. That's a week away. I don't want to get too ahead of myself there. Meanwhile, in Winnipeg, here's a look at your next 7 days. 22 degrees on Tuesday, 24 sunny skies on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so it's looking like a pleasant week ahead there. Meanwhile, I mentioned that rain in southern Ontario. We had about 16 days of dry weather, and that has come to an end with those showers on Saturday. Sunday, we could still see some lingering showers with widespread rainfall through your Monday. We're looking at upwards of 20 millimeters through the Nickel Belt region, northern portions, and then down towards the GTA. We could see some spotty showers here and there, about 10 millimeters possible. So just keep an umbrella handy just in case you have any Sunday outdoor plans. It honestly is the perfect conditions temperature-wise to head outside near the lake. Toronto 24, Hamilton 26. It is the first day of fall, and those temperatures are still feeling summer-like. I'm actually looking forward to sweater weather, kind of over, the hot, heat, sweaty conditions. I'm ready to wear some sweaters. Here's a look through your Thursday, that rain continuing in your long-range forecast. We're going to talk more about how much rain you could see later on in the week. Here's a sneak peek at your next 7 days in Toronto. Nationally, though, still fairly warm, even though it is the first day of fall. Can you believe it? We have plenty to talk about here. We're going to talk more in your long-range forecast about any rain or any fall-like conditions you may experience. However, with the fall, the seasons are changing, and so are the skies. You're going to want to mark some dates on your calendar here because Kim McDonald has some astronomical events that you don't want to miss. You know what else is in the sky? Plenty of rain. We're going to talk about this atmospheric river that's taking aim at central British Columbia here. Vancouver, 17 degrees. Abbotsford, 17. With those icons indicating that rain. We could see upwards of 100 millimeters of portions of the province. So stay with us here at the Weather Network as we continue to monitor 2 rounds of rain. One on your Sunday and Monday, and then the next round later on in the week on your Wednesday and Thursday. Conditions fairly seasonal there for your temperatures, but we do have some more rain lingering through parts of Alberta as well through your Monday, through that Red Deer area and northern portions of the province. We could see some rain moving in from British Columbia. Your conditions, though, fairly warm, still holding on to that 20-degree mark, and I did mention it's the first day of fall. It's not necessarily feeling too much like fall until maybe next weekend. Edmonton, 13 degrees on next Saturday and next Sunday, so that's quite the degree drop compared to your Tuesday, 25 degrees. So definitely holding on to that warmth throughout the week here. Meanwhile, other places in the prairies, Saskatoon, 18 degrees, Regina, 18, Winnipeg, 17, and the next 7 days still feeling fairly warm. 26 degrees by next Thursday and Friday, and then by Saturday, Sunday, a little bit more seasonal into that mid-teen mark. Winnipeg, same situation there, but plenty of sunshine holding on for your midweek. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday look like beautiful days to get out. Meanwhile, in southern Ontario, we could see some more rain on the way in the upcoming days. But for your afternoon on Sunday, still fairly warm, 24 degrees in Toronto, 26 in Hamilton and London, 28 in Windsor. It's almost 30 degrees, and it is September 22nd. I cannot believe it. I am ready for sweater weather, but it's not there yet. Even for the rest of the week, still 20 degrees in Toronto. And your national weather story continues. We actually have a tropical update coming right up in your program. We've already seen these named storms this 2024 Atlantic hurricane season, and we're only halfway through the season. So we're going to talk about the next named storm. Could it be a named storm? Well, we have all the details coming right up. I want to show you that funnel cloud once more here, spotted in Brantford. A beautiful scene. I don't believe that this tornado actually touched down, but it did bring a widespread rainfall, also some hail on that, which we showed you earlier in that Force of Nature video. Now, we could see some rain ending that dry streak in southern Ontario. The next 3 days, a soggy pattern ahead for parts of Hamilton as well as Brampton, anywhere in and around that GTA. You should probably keep an umbrella handy for the next couple of days. We're going to talk later in the program about the timing on the rain and how much rain you could potentially see. Now, that's not the only place we're monitoring rain. We do have an atmospheric river which is taking aim at central portions of British Columbia. The Metro Vancouver area could see some rain in the next 5 days as well. Here's a look at your next 7 days. Your temperature is quite seasonal. Your seasonal conditions for Vancouver is 19. Monday, you hit that 19-degree mark, but then as we progress later on in the week, conditions start to cool off a little bit more. Now, we do have a slight cool down for parts of the prairies, but with that rain, it's really going to cause a damper on part of your week. We're going to talk more about the timing when I return. Earlier, well, it is that time of year again. September will see the greatest drop in daylight hours, and here's why. In the Shen, it did not touch down, I can confirm, but hail and rain, we could see some more rain on the way. We're going to talk about that. I'm Victoria Fenn Alvarado, and thank you again for joining us here at the Weather Network. We have an atmospheric river, like I mentioned, through parts of British Columbia. That's going to cause some soggy conditions for the rest of your weekend and into early this week. Meanwhile, in Atlantic Canada, high pressure dominating, so we do have some warm conditions on the way. Well, it is the first day of fall, as I mentioned, and the average first frost in southern Ontario happens mid-October. Niagara, October 21st, October 16th in Toronto. It is almost October. Can you believe it? We're starting to get that fall spirit, pumpkin spice lattes. I can smell it already. Hopefully, we do not see a frost anytime soon, and I can confirm we shouldn't because our conditions are still fairly warm. 24 through that GTA area, Toronto, 26 in Hamilton, 26 in London, and 28 in Windsor for your Sunday afternoon. But we do have some rain on the way, as I mentioned, through your Monday, upwards of 10 to 20 millimeters possible, especially through those northern regions. Sudbury is one of those areas that could see heavier rainfall. The next 7 days, quite soggy, so you should probably keep an umbrella handy, but still into that 20-degree temperature mark. Meanwhile, I mentioned the atmospheric river in parts of British Columbia. That's going to be bringing in heavy rainfall through central portions through your Sunday afternoon and through your Monday, even into Tuesday as well. Your long-range forecast isn't looking much more dry. Plenty of rain. We're looking at upwards of 100 millimeters possible through the Bella Bella, Port Hardy area. Any northern portions of the province as well, Prince Rupert, could see upwards of 100 millimeters there. So heavy rainfall, and there's a look at your next 7 days. Your temperature is still fairly seasonal for this time of year. Meanwhile, in the prairies, your conditions still around that 20-degree mark. Calgary 21 and Red Deer 21. But your long-range forecast is looking slightly cooler. By next weekend, we get into that 14-degree mark, which is below seasonal. Luckily, you have a week of still warm conditions until next weekend. I mentioned high pressure along parts of Atlantic Canada, and that is what is in place, which means less cloud cover, also some warmer conditions. Here's your temperatures. 17 in Bridgewater, 18 in Dugby. This developing story because this system has absolutely changed. 2 days ago, Laura, we were looking at about a 40% chance of tropical storm Helene to make impacts through parts of the Carolinas and through Florida. However, now, within 2 days, it's changed to 70%. Meteorologist Laura Power, how did this come to be? How did this dramatic change happen so quickly?
Well, it's hard to say for sure, but we are looking at very warm sea surface temperatures, which is...
And it just goes to show how rapid the atmosphere can change in order to create this tropical storm. That's why hurricanes develop so quickly too, right? Yeah. Now, where is the track? I did mention Florida, but what's the timing on this?
Well, as you mentioned, this is still
talking about impacting parts of the United States, but what about here in Canada? You know, typically with these Atlantic named storms, you could get impacts through Atlantic Canada, right?
Yeah, well, there's always a chance. Now, again,
but this atmospheric river potentially could bring in 100 millimeters of rain, Laura?
Yeah, not for the lower mainland. If you're in Vancouver, don't worry, you're not facing 100 millimeters. That is more so for the central coast of BC. We're looking at, yeah, like you mentioned, over 100 millimeters possible.
Yeah, it is the first day of fall. Can you believe it? It is Sunday, September 22nd. I am Victoria Fenn Alvarado. Yes, we ended that dry streak. Your lawn was probably looking a little crispy, and it needs that rain. Our crops need rain. I need rain. We do have some atmospheric moisture, which is going to bring in some rainfall early for your work week, even in through Sunday evening as well. Here's another look at that Brantford funnel cloud. This is an absolutely beautiful, stunning shot. If you do have any pictures or videos that you feel like you want to send to us, you can always find us on Twitter at the Weather Network, or you can send it directly to me at Victoria Fenn Alvarado on any social media. I did mention that atmosphere holding on to that moisture. Our long range forecast also plenty of moisture there, but for this afternoon, for your Sunday, still fairly warm. 24 degrees in Toronto, 26 in Hamilton, Windsor 28, still feeling almost summer-like. Your overnight conditions still holding on to some warmth, but those icons indicating that rain that I did mention. So here's a look at the timing on the rain. Sunday overnight, that's when it starts to reach western portions of the province, and then it starts to sweep on in. I'm going to give you a little bit of a closer look here. So Sunday, 6 p.m., that's when we could start seeing the rain start moving through Windsor, Sarnia, and then later on throughout your overnight, the rain starts to push further east. So by Monday at noon, more widespread rainfall, Windsor, London, Hamilton, Toronto, and then even Niagara Falls could see that rain through your Sunday morning. The 401 through that morning commute. Make sure you pay attention to the weather and drive according to the rainy conditions. It's always better to be safe than sorry. We don't want any hydroplaning on the roadways. We could see upwards of 15 millimeters, northern portions of the province, 20 to 30 millimeters, but definitely an end to that dry streak that we saw, and your lawn will thank you for it. Monday morning, your temperatures slightly cooler than your Sunday, 17 degrees in Toronto, 16 in Hamilton, and 17 in Windsor. By Monday, though, Cornwall still in that 20-degree mark, 21, 20 in Kingston, 22 in Toronto, but you're going to need an umbrella for the next couple of days, and that means a lack of sunlight as well. Only 2 hours of sunlight for your Monday. Tuesday, we don't even get any sunlight. That's just because the clouds are just completely overtaking any of that sun that we could see. For the rest of your week, that rain still lingering on could bring in upwards of 20 millimeters by Thursday. Barrie, Bancroft, Kingston, and then as I mentioned, the northern portions of the province could see even higher rainfall totals. Here's a look at the next 7 days in Toronto. By next weekend, a little bit more clear, 21 degrees, 22 on Sunday. It really isn't feeling like fall yet. I'm looking forward to sweater weather because I have exhausted my summer clothes. I'm a little bit over the heat, but that rain will feel a little bit nicer, especially for any outdoor plans. You need to make sure that you bring an umbrella because the next couple days, a little bit soggy. We have more coming right up. Finally, an end to that dry streak that we had going on. I'm fortunate that we saw some rain, and any farmers, any people who have some gardens, they're probably fortunate that there's rain there as well. Like I mentioned, it is the first day of fall, and that's probably got you thinking, when are we going to get into the cool conditions? When are we going to start getting frost? Well, our average first frost in the GTA area, Niagara, is October 21st, Toronto, October 16th. Muskoka could see some frost as early as September 25th. It's September 22nd, so we're inching closer to the cool conditions, but the rain, that's the real story that we're talking about with you here on Weather AM, because that dry streak comes to an end We saw some rain on your Saturday, and the rain just continues Sunday through around the 6 p.m. mark, dinner time. Windsor, Sarnia could see some rain. And then Monday, more widespread rainfall across the portions of southern Ontario by Monday afternoon. That starts inching closer further east, Kingston, Cobourg, getting into that more severe or heavier rainfall there. So stay with us here at the Weather Network as we continue to monitor the rainfall situation. You're going to want to keep an umbrella for the next couple days, actually, especially across portions of the GTA. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday could be fairly soggy. Your conditions, though, your temperature is still fairly warm, still holding on to that summer-like heat. 24 degrees in Toronto, 28 in Windsor. And then through your overnight, conditions still fairly warm. 17 degrees, Toronto, London, Barrie, even 16 degrees there, Sudbury, 11 degrees. So maybe have a lighter jacket on hand if you are going outside in the evening. Now, your long-range forecast really holding on to that moisture in the atmosphere. We could see upwards of 10 to 15 millimeters of rain possible on your Monday, but throughout Thursday, upwards of 20 millimeters possible through that work week. Monday, here's a look at your temperatures. Like I said, still holding on to that warmth, but you're going to want to take advantage of any sunlight that you can get on Sunday, because Monday, Tuesday, we have a lack of sunshine.